Hello and welcome back. This is Image Bearers. I'm Lacey Kahn. Before we get started, if this episode or another episode has blessed you, please bless us by sharing the episode because sharing is caring. And if you want to bless us more, there's a link in the bio for donating to help further God's kingdom and help with this podcast. With that being said, I'd like to introduce my next guest, my cousin Travis, part owner of Round Table.
Let's toast, Lacey.
Let's toast. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Travis, you are the part owner of Round Table, where I record
Yes.
in Broad Ripple.
Yes, ma'am.
That was very exciting.
It is exciting.
Right? So for those who do not know you, besides now being the co-owner, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Travis Moore. I
Uh-huh.
also go by Cold Cut, which is like my production name. I've had it for a long time, and many people have asked how I've got that, which is quite the funny story, but we don't have to go there. But I've been doing music for 25 years, and
Crazy.
it was just something that, like, when I was a kid, just kind of I gravitated towards, and just was like as a listener, and I'm just a white boy from the country that somehow
Right?
hip hop just
It
kind of
saved you.
it just kind of took hold, and so I remember growing up, and like I remember the first well, this would have been a cassette that I
Oh,
bought
okay. You taking it
was
back.
I went to Music Land, which was before Sam Goody, which
Was that in Marion?
it was in Marion.
Okay.
And I remember asking, "Do you have Baby Got Back?" So Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got
Yeah.
Back was, I think, the first cassette that I bought. But something about that music just really spoke to me, and it was something, as I was in high school, just
Mm-hmm.
I really liked. And I played sports and didn't do any, like, the only thing my school had was just like band and choir,
Uh-huh.
and I thought I was too cool for that, so I played sports. And my senior year in high school, I decided, as much as I love sports, I'm really not that athletically gifted,
Yeah.
that
It
I'm not going to
happens.
make it to the NBA or
I'm
the
glad you
NFL,
recognize it then.
right?
Right.
And maybe I should, think about this music thing. So
Right.
I didn't do any sports my senior year, and I focused on music. And at that point, and this was many years ago because I'm getting up there in age now,
Right. You
Lacey.
look great,
Well,
though.
thank you.
You're welcome.
But I was like, I'm going to focus on music, and I bought some turntables for the first time. I had never seen them in real life.
Oh, no.
Like literally just like ordered them off of the internet, and
This was before Amazon and stuff.
yeah,
So
it was
this is
before Amazon.
right.
Yeah, and got them, and then kind of taught myself how to scratch. I wasn't really great, but and then started mobile DJing and doing like dances and parties, and so I started DJing like different school dances. So I'd
Uh-huh.
have different schools, and I was in high school pay me to go do their high school
Right. Oh,
dances,
that is
which was
hilarious.
awesome. And then there was one year that my school canceled our dance, and I was like, okay, I'll just rent a gym
Mm-hmm.
and throw my own dance. And so I did. And that was kind of started my entrepreneur,
Right.
spirit of like, well, throw my own party, I'll DJ it, I'll charge admission to get in. I had like these little mixtapes I made. This was at the time where we all used to go to this is really dating me, but we used to go to this place called Tippy Dance Hall.
It sounds like a place from the 50s. There's like tippy dance.
It's not from the
It's
50s.
scandalous.
But like I got these like little glow in your mouth, like toothpicks, and like I sold those, and yeah.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it
So
just
you
really,
were legit.
yeah. So it really started just kind of like, wow, this is cool. I can play music that I like,
Mm-hmm.
and I can make money doing it, and that's that was the first passion for music, and then it transitioned into like, I don't want to play other people's music, I want to make my own.
Yeah.
And so that kind of like at the end of high school, that's kind of where I was, where everybody's like, what do you want to do with your life? For me, it's like music. That's what I want to do.
Right.
But I don't know what that really means. And then I learned about this school called Full Sail University
Mm-hmm.
in Orlando or Winter Park, Florida. And at the time, it was the only like major, school that you could learn this, recording and recording arts and all of those things. So I told my parents this is what I want to do. They thought I was crazy.
Right. I bet they
Just
did.
as a kid, they thought, and we know this as parents, kids go through so many different phases
Right.
of like, okay, you're into that, but are you really gonna? And I think they thought music was a phase for me, and then obviously,
It
I'm in my 40s now, and I still
right?
this is what I do every single day, and I can't imagine doing anything else. But yeah, so I went to school for it, and then got a degree in recording arts, and then came back to Indy, and then actually got married. I got married to a high school sweetheart of
Adorable.
yeah, and we've been married for 21 years, I think.
That's crazy.
But yeah, and then we went to Michigan. I started my career in Michigan,
Oh,
and
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
actually Detroit, which
Oh,
was
yes. Okay, I do
which was
remember a
crazy.
shady time,
It was
yes.
shady, yeah. In the mid 2000s, it
Mhm.
was it was like straight Gotham City,
Right.
and like the mayor was pretty much like Suge Knight. Guy named Kwame Kilpatrick, and
He
he's
sounds
out.
like he would be.
I think he's in prison for the rest of his life for all kinds of things, you know. But yeah, so it was a crazy time. But I started my career there, worked in some studios, and then eventually made my way back to Indy, and I actually got an internship at this studio called The Lodge Recording Studios. That started up in the mid '90s, and it was the big studio here in town for many years. I met our now chief engineer Corey Miller, and
Oh,
one of my really good friends. We've been friends for 20 some years now, and but I met him there, and I worked under him for a while, and worked at that studio, and then I he introduced me to another guy, and I worked at his studio for 13 years. And after that, I think the biggest inspiration for starting Roundtable was I really wanted to offer a client experience that I knew the clients deserved, but had never got,
mhm.
and hadn't got in Indianapolis. And that was important to me to bring something that, like, when I would travel to the major music cities, and I was blessed to work on records. I got to work on records in a lot of records in Nashville, on Music Row, and then I did some stuff in New York and LA, and I wanted to bring like that experience of like, wow, this is like the real thing, you know.
Yeah.
And the studios I was working at were, um, not that the gear wasn't great, but it was just the environment and the aesthetic. And as you know, just since you record in
Y
all of our rooms here,
I know,
Lacey,
right?
that aesthetic is very important to me
Yes.
and Roundtable. Uh, and I just think, as we're in a new set here
Mhm.
right now in the booth,
Right?
but it's something that I think is important, and I think it really drives inspiration.
Yeah.
And it drives inspiration not just for the artists that come in, but also for us that come in here every single day, and work in this environment. So,
Right.
very long-winded answer to your first
Right,
question.
I love it. You gave me all of it. I
Okay.
learned all about you. It was storybook time. But
Okay.
yeah, no, I appreciate, especially with, your, like, desire to make Round Table more of, like, a holistic experience and you
Mhm.
just going in and out and stuff.
Yeah, for
And as
sure.
and as everyone can see, because there's so many different scenes, if you wanna see, just look at all my reels. There's
I know.
different backgrounds
And
on
that's
all
what
of
I
it.
show people too. I'm like, "Hey, this look at image bearers. You can see every room."
Right? I know, and I
Yeah,
get a lot of compliments. People
yeah,
really enjoy it and stuff. But it is crazy how the Lord gave you this gift, because I remember one time I was talking to you and I said when I used to smoke weed, that was the only time I understood like music. Like
yeah,
it just like it made sense to me, like the sounds, like everything just went together and stuff. And you're like, yeah, that's just how my mind works all
yeah.
the time. And I'm like, oh, you mean you're walking around just understanding music? Like it gets you like that. But to be a producer and stuff, I guess you have to, because you gotta hear the small things.
Yeah, and I think that is a development that happens early when you start to develop your ears, and not to
Mhm.
be like super audio nerd, but
Yeah,
it's just
no.
it's one of those things that once you come to the dark side of hearing music, very analytical, you never go back.
Mhm.
And I remember being like, when I first started making beats, back in like 2000,
Yeah.
so 26 years ago. Um, I remember thinking, and like once I learned how to play on a metronome, and just thinking how like the kick and the snare, and hearing music a different way and analyzing it. And you don't ever undo that, which sometimes is a gift and a curse, because like if I'm, every week I'm at church and I'll hear
Right.
a wrong note or like, and they do a great job, but
Right, but,
like,
like, the drums out or
yeah,
something, I bet you're like,
something like that,
"Oh."
I'll kind of like cringe inside. But then, like, if I go to like karaoke, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really tough. But yeah, and the nice thing is too, you were saying, when you were smoking, I think that, sometimes when you let your mind just kind of like relax,
Uh-huh,
you can really like take that in. And I think that's why a lot of musicians have become, abusers of substances
right.
because they they long for that feeling. Luckily, I've created music, sober
Mhm,
for all these years. I've never needed like a substance to like help me get in that zone.
mhm.
Now, there's, times in my career that I've partaked if, like we had Snoop walk in one
Alright.
time
It'd be rude not
and
to,
he
but
just was like,
you were
yeah,
like,
he didn't
"When
say
else are
anything.
you going to be able
And I was
to"
like, okay,
Right.
but it's not something that I've
Yeah,
ever needed or wanted or, I have no issue
right.
with, people doing that. But, and there are some, artists that I know that maybe not as much anymore, but like, it was kind of built in our sessions. They would take a smoke break,
Mhm.
they would roll up or they would, do their thing. But, it's just something that I never needed,
Yeah,
which is great,
yeah. 'Cause
so
it's, I mean, like, authentic gift and stuff.
yeah.
I mean, like, I reminded just you cracked me up when you were saying your, parents went, like, 'cause you this was, like, late '90s, 2000 when you were like, "Imma do
Yeah,
music," and that's, like, the same time all white boys were wanting to do
I
rap
know.
music.
I
So
was
they were like, "Honey."
I
What
know. I was huge into Eminem
Right.
and yeah, but I think that I would say the difference is that I really authentically cared about everything that hip hop was and is,
Mhm.
and I really analyzed the difference between hip hop and rap, and I went to the street corners where hip hop was born in
Right.
1973 in the Bronx at Sedgwick and Cedar, and those things were important to me and understanding the four elements of hip hop. And I could go down the whole nerd
Right.
of hip hop, but um, you know, I respect it,
Mhm,
and I owe hip hop a lot because it has afforded me the life that I have,
mhm.
honestly. And it was just something that I wanted to do. But I remember just like the early beginnings of like asking people if they rapped and would they rap on my beats,
Uh-huh.
and I remember that first experience was kind of in Orlando, and I'm, from Indiana,
Right.
pretty, I'm not so cultured at that
Right.
time. And I remember we were at a McDonald's close to the university, and I was like, any of you guys rap? Because like I make beats. Would you want to rap on my beats? And
Uh-huh.
super awkward,
Yeah.
but once that once that like happened, and I think the thing is once you get past that first like awkward
Mhm.
stage and you let the music play, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Nothing else matters is when you let the music play and you get it and they know you get it. It it never mattered or hindered me. And there's plenty of situations, especially like in Detroit, um, where I was in, situations where it's like people were looking at me like, what are you doing here? And
Yeah.
I remember I played the music and then everybody's like, oh man, this is really good.
Right,
You
that's
know what I
so
mean?
funny. I
So
bet
you
the
just let
listener were
the
happy,
yeah,
yeah.
you let the music speak,
Mhm.
So that was a thing for me, and always being authentic of who I am, and never changing who I am based on a client or based on like, how a client is. And I work with all walks of life and always have.
Mhm.
And I feel like my clients and myself, we always have had mutual respect because I have clients from all walks of life,
Yeah.
that have different experiences than I do. But I respect that and I really try to bring the best out of them on a professional level,
Yeah.
on a sonic level. And, that's really important to me. And the reputation of Roundtable.
Right. What song, rap song was like, you got it, like, there you were like, "This is what I wanna do."
That's a great question. I would say one of the first songs that I I just like I really was that kind of like gave me goosebumps was Juicy
Oh, right.
by Notorious B.I.G. And a lot of those records, you know, at that time, and I was really into like Bone Thugs and Harmony
Yeah.
and all those records. But I would say when I really wanted to do it was right at the time where like Outkast was this is like pre like Hey Ya. This is before like they were quote unquote like pop
So
because
it's
they
for, like, Stankonia and
yeah, like
stuff?
Stankonia stuff and
Uh-huh.
like I really was into a record called ATLNs
Yeah.
and like those records just really spoke to me and the production of those records were amazing.
Mhm.
And so I would say those and then there was a group called NERD, which was Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse me, and they were together. They were the production group, the Neptunes, and
Yeah.
like in 2000, early
Oh,
2000,
yes.
they had like every hit.
Right.
But when they kind of joined and did their own like band thing, I was like, man, this is awesome.
Right.
And they had a lot of cool songs, and they had a few like big big hits on that. Like there was one called Rockstar.
Yeah.
But those were never my favorite. All the deep cuts on those records were just like my production. Like I was just like, man, what they're doing is really cool.
Mhm.
And that's what just got my mind of like those were my early influences is like NERD and Outkast.
Uh-huh, right.
Yeah.
There's some good influences.
Yeah, for sure.
They get the party going,
For
especially
sure.
Outkast. I mean, all of them, even
Yeah.
in AD, but yeah.
And now my boys are into Outkast and like Crosby will play like in his playlist he had like So Fresh So Clean.
Oh,
They love Roses.
right.
And then of course like Hey Ya, but then he also will always want to play DMX because he knows I love DMX growing up and you know I got to work with DMX and so he we always talk about that and but every DMX song has
Right.
so much vulgar
That's
stuff
before he became a Christian pastor and
and
all that stuff.
I have to turn it off very quickly. Or, you know, it's usually he was good about editing his own stuff with
Uh-huh.
like, "What?
Right.
Huh?" You
Yeah.
know, but there's plenty of stuff that still plays on the you know, I have
Right.
Sirius XM and
Right. It's
it's unfiltered.
it's the
He
unfiltered.
wants to listen to like Rough Riders Anthem, which I love, but it's like, you know,
Writers and
yeah,
it's quality. It's
yeah,
quality. It is.
yeah,
Like we were saying before, they just don't make music like they used to.
for sure.
Right. It cracks
Yeah.
me up. He's got a good ear.
Oh
It
yeah.
just cracks me up because growing up with you, I mean, like, especially your parents, like, I don't think Carol or Randy are, like, musically inclined, are they?
No.
Either side I know on your dad's side, because that's also my side. On Carol's side, was there any, like, people who did, like, musical things?
The only one was my grandma, my mom's mom,
Uh-huh.
Imogene, and she played piano,
Okay.
and, and I actually have, like, her like, I remember being a, you know, a kid and her original, like, keyboard that she had, and I have that now, but it's you know, that was the only influence,
Right.
and I think it's just, you know, it's just something that I knew I wanted to do, and then once I knew how to do it or like, you know, I could go somewhere to learn, then I was all about it. I didn't want to do, you know, my dad worked at Chrysler for 30 some
Yeah.
years and that could have been a layup for me. You know, I remember
Right.
getting teased in high school. It's like, oh, your dad at Chrysler, you get a new car all the time. I'm like, well, okay, you know, if your parents offer you a brand new vehicle, you'd say no because the kids are going to make fun of me. It's like,
Right.
no, I'm gonna, you know. So like and it was always a thing, "Oh, you're gonna work at Chrysler," and my dad didn't want us to work at Chrysler,
Mhm.
you know, and he had a you know, he had a great career
Yeah.
and, you know, was in upper management and had, you know, and it's afforded him an amazing retirement. They're in Florida and they do their thing and don't have to worry about anything, but, um, you know, I chose music, which, you know, is it's been amazing. It's not without, you know, a lot of work
Mhm.
and, a lot of ups and downs. But you know, and my brother, I think early on, he worked at Chrysler for a very short time, and then he chose, you know, he's in like franchising, so he
Yeah.
does. He's worked for a bunch of different companies, but he's very successful in what he does, and so both neither one of us ever, you know, really took that path, and obviously my path is, you know, is way different than most people, especially
Right.
coming from where we come from, and you know, and a little small town of Marion, Indiana, where, you know, there's nothing.
Mhm.
It was a factory town, and then most of those factories are gone.
Right.
The only thing left is, Fisher Buddy, which is GM, and,
Mhm.
um, and there was no way to stay there, you
Right.
know? Um, so yeah.
But here you are now
Right?
with the recording studio.
Yeah.
So, so you own this with Tim.
Mhm.
How did you get how did you take that leap to be like, how did you find Tim? How did this all start?
Yeah. Oh, great. Great question. So, yeah, so Tim, actually was my student at
Oh.
another, studio that I was working at.
No.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
and, he came from Michigan. He's originally from Michigan, and Tim was very successful, business owner and businessman. He worked, real high up in, the automotive field as well, and then after that, he decided he wanted to own his own business, so he, um owned like two very successful tax firms, and then when his wife Lisa got a job here in Indy, they moved, and a corporate basically bought those two stores from him. So
Yeah.
you know he was able to kind of at that time just set back and kind of move with his wife, and wanted to kind of start a second career, and that was music. And because back in the day, he was wearing leather pants and had a mullet and was the front
No,
man of a
he
rock group with a yeah, oh yeah.
Tim?
Oh yeah.
Y'all, if
Oh
you come to
Timmy.
round table, Tim, you would not have Zach and I were joking about how Tim does not look like he owns the
Oh
recording
yeah.
studio.
Well, I mean, the thing is Trisha's gonna edit this and I could give her a picture and she could slide that in right at that time with the leather pants.
Right? Oh my god, you might have to because it
I know.
cracks me because I see him
Yeah.
now and I'm just like, he just
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I mean, like he does fit here, but he's just it's just so funny. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
I'm talking to him because I can't imagine him. I mean, like he does it, but meeting with rappers, all these people because he looks like he's just I don't know, just
Yeah, well, he's the business. He's the
yes.
business mind. He's and honestly, doing this without him, I would have never done it.
Hmm.
I needed somebody that knew business. I know music and I'm creative, but I had no experience of running my own business.
Right.
I mean, maybe just myself, as an entrepreneur, but not like managing people. I've learned so much from him about that. But the way that we met was, through that studio, and then we just became friends. And I just really loved his, professionalism and his attitude, and
Uh-huh.
just like he was super smart about
Right.
business. And as we were at that facility, I just started to feel like I was hitting a ceiling, and I couldn't go any further. And I had my own dreams and aspirations, and it was always to own my own studio. And he shared that, and then Corey shared that too, even though he was at the lodge. And Corey and I had talked about opening our own studio for 15 years before it became
Mhm.
a reality. I mean, we'd spend time on the phone, and he would vent about the studio he was at, I would vent about the studio I was at, and we just wanted more.
Yeah.
And so when Tim came around, the three of us became friends,
Mhm.
and we eventually we went on this trip together to Nashville. And this is what we when people ask us how this came about, this is where we say it started. And I was working to get some records done, and to meet some artists that I had worked with. One of them was Jelly Roll.
Charlie Ball,
Yeah,
sweet spirit.
I know, right? So, yeah, so we're meeting. So Tim's with me, and we're meeting Jelly at a studio in Nashville, and just that whole time, the little things, like we went to Sound Emporium in Nashville, and they had like branded Sound Emporium cups.
Mhm.
They also, when we got there, they had little record bowls with popcorn in them.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I was just like, that's really cool. Like a cool just thing that like is it's an added service
Yeah.
that like that definitely doesn't happen in Indianapolis. And it had a really cool vibe. And we was just talking about like how could we do this? And so yeah, we talked about it for many years. And I eventually left the studio I was at in 2019, because the roundtable finally became a reality after years of trying. Like we had LLC'd roundtable probably in 2017, maybe
Mhm.
2016, and then we didn't get brick and mortar till 2019.
Right.
So it was years of trying to make this happen.
Yeah.
And and so once we finally got the green light and we knew that we could get a brick and mortar, uh, that's when, the real vision became, and we started hunting for a building. And we this was the very last one we looked at.
Really?
And it just had everything we wanted.
Right.
And but it wasn't for sale. It was just like for lease, only part of it. And I remember talking to my friend and investor,
Uh-huh.
um, which, my investor is a former client of mine. And we did a lot of amazing records together back in the day. And I told him about this building. He's like, why don't I just buy it?
And you were like,
It's like, well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, if you want to, I
And
didn't know that was on the
yeah,
cards.
we can do that. And so yeah, it's one of those things, and I'm gonna parlay this into God and to a
Uh-huh.
God thing is, because this is image bearers, we
Oh,
need to speak about our faith
oh, we
first.
are. I mean, we were going to, but I was
I know.
go
Uh I had I had prayed several times of like, if this is not supposed to happen, take it away.
Right.
Don't make it happen. Don't let it happen. Just, but if it is, because it was very trying to make this thing happen.
Mhm.
We were in the middle of, once we started the build out, we were in the middle of COVID, and, just spending a lot of time, money, energy on building this place. It was tough. It was very stressful. And I just remember, saying like, if this isn't meant to happen, then take it away. And it
Yeah.
was just one of those things that things kept happening, and it was a reality. And I just remember there was one time I was, mowing my grass, and I had my headphones in. I was just thinking, man, it would be so amazing to have my own place. Um, just the things we could do. I remember just kind of dreaming of that. And it happened,
Right.
and owning a business, and especially a small business, hasn't, come without challenges,
Mhm.
and I think every small business could relate to that. But it's been an amazing blessing for me, and I know for Tim and for Corey and everybody that has been a part of Roundtable, that has been here, whether it's the students, whether it's freelancers, or people that have been on staff that have kind of came and gone, but then also people that are here that we've developed. I feel a big sense of pride of like, employing people and
Mhm.
helping them with their careers, and um, helping them level up, and
Yeah.
all of those things. So, and that's really the fulfillment for me. It never was set out to be a financial, like, oh, we're going to do this studio and so we can make all this money.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was no. Um, I want to build a place for, to be a hub for Indianapolis, because there's so much amazing music here, and amazing talented art and artists that don't have a place that they deserve.
Mhm.
That's why we built Roundtable, and I
Yeah.
think that's what I want to be known, that it is a place that you could come and work with professionals that care about your music. It's not just a transaction. It's not just like, yes, you do pay per hour for the room, but like, we care about the ultimate product that goes out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would
So
say definitely. I mean, I feel that way
yeah,
recording here.
for sure.
Yes. All right. As okay, let's tie this into image bearers.
Yes.
As a how do you view artists as image bearers more than just like a client or a project?
Okay. That was
Okay.
a that was a big one there. I think for me with clientele, there's I find myself in different ways now, because I've been doing this a while and I'm older, and I feel like now it's more, especially with my younger clients, it's more like a mentor. I'm
Mhm.
more kind of following that mentor role. But when I was younger, and still even today, I formed friendships with a lot of these
Mhm.
people. These are my people. And they're my, you could call them my music people, but they're my people. And I've became, a lot of projects I get real attached to the people, the music,
Mhm.
the outcome, So it's not just a financial transaction. It's a whole, and I feel like when you find your team, like, that's what I tell any up and coming like artists is you have to find like you really need a team around you.
Mhm.
And when you find your team, you find your tribe, it's like it's something you can make magic together, but you also feel a lot of the same stuff together. You care about what happens in the project. And I always want the projects that I do to really be successful. And I feel some type of way when they're not, even though I know that the reason why they're not is a lot of times it's just lack of promotion, lack of marketing money.
Yeah.
And it's also just one of those things that I mean, it takes relentless work. Like the work really starts after the record's done. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so come to me, come to us, we'll make an amazing product. And we do our best to help you promote it. But it is one of those things as an artist, you got to know that like if you really want to do this, like you got to put the work in
Right.
every single day. Because if not, there's somebody out there that is.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing with like, you know, um, my son Crosby is always like, his goal, right? He's 11 years old. His goal right now is, he wants to either be a professional wrestler, which I know you'd love,
I know, right?
um, or or he wants to be like in the NBA, and he plays all three sports.
Uh-huh.
And what I tell him, and he's been playing a ton of basketball, and we're about to transition into baseball. But what I tell him, for basketball, I said, you can't expect to be the best out there if the only time you play basketball is in practice and at your games.
Right.
You, if you want to be the best at something, you have to be putting it in when no one else is watching.
Mhm.
Like, you have to be, and you have to have, that passion. If you want to be a Michael Jordan, you want to be a Steph Curry or, like a Halliburton, local
Yeah.
tie there. Like those guys put in the time when no one was watching.
Right.
And I explained that to Crosby and then also Cooper, who's my 13, almost 14-year-old. He has got has grown so much in basketball, just his talent level and really just like his shot. And I told him, when I was a kid, I played outside all the time, and I remember just shooting by myself. And we lived out in the country,
You
the
do.
cornfields,
Yes.
and I just remember when cars were passing by, I was in my mind, I was like, "Oh, they're watching me. It's like
Right.
3, 2, 1, shoot." You know what I mean? And I just put up those shots, and now as a 42-year-old out of shape man, I play men's basketball. I do. And I've been playing in the league. I still have a shot. That's the only thing I got left.
Right. I'm working with this.
The only thing I've got left, Lacey, but I still have a shot. And that's something that you can't take away from me.
Right.
And, you know, going back to music, it's just one of those things where you have to put in, 10,000 hours or
You
whatever,
yeah.
and I was making beats when it wasn't cool to make beats.
Right.
I was, when you didn't have an option to make beats on your phone or, you know, all the options today,
Right.
not to mention AI,
I
you know
know.
what I mean?
Which we'll start talking about pretty
For
soon.
sure. Yeah, I thought that was a good segue.
I know,
I've
right?
watched enough of these lately, I know.
You crack me up.
Um, so yeah.
Right? No, I mean, that's true. Very like anything you want is gonna it takes time and work and patience. I mean, that's with anything like
Mhm.
relationships, jobs, like
Yeah.
anything. If you have a true desire for it and stuff,
Yeah.
you have to work for it because it's not gonna be handed to you.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
even in like the Christian walk and stuff, it's like, now we're past the prosperity gospel where it's health and wealth. You get saved and you think suddenly you're going to get Bentley in the next parking spot and stuff.
Right.
But it's the same thing. Any kind of thing that's worth something, you have to work for.
Mhm.
And it was like the Bible says, like, what's done in the dark will come to light. So, like, what you do
For sure.
in the dark when no one's watching will come to light.
Good or bad.
Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, so yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah.
Good life lessons for your boys and
100%.
for the whole music thing.
Yeah.
So since you brought up AI, being now that AI is big, when you first heard about AI in music and stuff, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, "Oh, it'll never touch us. It'll never touch us. It's never gonna sound." I mean, I'm always gonna be able to tell.
Uh-huh.
Now, as that progressed, it got crazier and crazier and crazier where I was like, It's actually whoa, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and that's for, like, like, where they're generating, you know what I mean? And, there's a company, uh, Suno, that is very impressive. I still don't believe that it's going to take away, from human creation. I know a lot of people is they are afraid of it, but I think with any technology, you have to embrace it, and you
Mhm.
have to learn it, and you have to learn how it could benefit you, or like how you can use it in your daily, daily creation or whatever.
Right.
But for AI has done so many positive things for the music industry. For example, we do a lot of things in music licensing, and now there's a lot of AI being used to like go through a song and figure out what the moods are, right? So you can auto tag, like, this is upbeat, this is intense, this is
Yeah.
tension, this is hip hop, whatever. So that's great that way. You can also now split like an instrumental, you can split a vocal off of a full song. You could take away the vocal and just
Mhm.
have an instrumental. So things like that are great. There's a lot of stuff in the whole metadata of songs that are done using AI that I think is huge,
Yeah.
and saves us a lot of time. There's also, I was talking with Tim the other day, and he's wanting to use AI uh, to help with like how we run the business,
Mhm.
to like all of our engineers. With their clientele, they'll be able to tell how many hours they do each week with the specific clients, who are our top clients, and all that could be spit out, into spitting out data.
Yeah.
So I think that those things are really cool. Um, but using AI to create your entire music is not cool. Um,
It's not cool.
it's it's uh it's impressive, but it's not something that, for one, it's not, you can't copyright it. Uh, I did a couple trial things where like I put in a beat of mine, and then I said, make this say it was just like a hip hop beat. I was like, make this like, country meets hip hop, and then it built this full thing around it.
Mhm.
Or maybe I took a song of an artist that was just like halfway decent. The artist was okay, and then I put it in and it sounded like a top 40 record.
Yeah.
And the thing that people don't realize is that the reason why the music makers, the creators, are so upset with AI is that the engines were built on our music. The engines are built on copyrighted material that they didn't pay for.
Mhm.
No wonder when you output something on Suno, it sounds like a hit record because it was trained on hit records.
Ah.
Um, because anything in AI, whatever you train it on,
Mhm.
it's going to output.
Right.
Um, in the last several music conferences that I went to in LA when we were doing the production music conference that we go to every year, we actually didn't go last year, but we normally go every year. And the first panels were all about AI, and so you had music supervisors, which music supervisor is basically the person in charge of what music gets used on a television show
Okay.
or a major motion picture. Yeah, so they're talking about, how that impacts what they're doing. And most all of television and, motion pictures are not taking AI music. And in matter of fact, in the contracts, they're stating that nothing can be artificially generated. They want human creators,
Really?
because it's important to them, obviously, because that's, for one, that's how we make a living,
Mhm.
but it's important to the integrity of creation. I do think it's very cool. Like in, you know, it's very cool that it can be done,
Yeah.
but it's just all in how you use it.
Right.
So I'm not afraid of it. I'm, embracing it. I haven't used it in any really creation capacity other than um, this is actually a cool use case. So there was a plugin that I've dabbled with called Mic Drop. And so let's say that you were my client, and you sang your vocal, but you wanted to have a male vocalist maybe do harmonies, or you wanted him to feature as the lead. Well, I could take your vocal and use this plugin called Mic Drop, and change it to a male vocal. And it's and all of these like choices that I have, they all have names and they have like pictures and
Uh-huh.
stuff. And so like I could turn it into like a soulful like gospel,
Yeah.
male.
Mhm.
And I've done that successfully on a few records where I've blended some vocals like that.
Right.
I have another instance where I have this audio book that I'm working on that's like it's it's crazy. It's like, it's almost like 7 hours long,
Okay.
and, but it's like, in the horror genre,
Okay.
and there's this, part where, the narrator is, he's playing the part of a child, and so he wants me to take that, part and turn it into a child speaking,
Oh gosh.
and I feel like the only way to authentically do that and let other than hiring a child, which I've done, not in a voiceover sense, but I've done plenty of times for records where I've had children's choirs.
Mhm.
But this allows the ability to take that voice and turn it into a child speaking, which is crazy,
Right.
that you can do that. So it's just learning the technology and how it could be used for your daily workflow.
Mhm.
And there's we could spend this whole pod talking about AI and music,
Mhm.
and but not only that, just like I I mean, I use ChatGPT sometimes on a daily,
Yeah.
and it's crazy how, it knows you, and
Right.
I think that those things are cool, like, I'll ask it sometimes personal stuff, or I'll ask it, even, like, super nerdy music stuff, and it always has great advice on things, and so I think that having those tools are helpful in life,
Right.
so,
I think so. I mean, that book sounds horribly scary if you're gonna have a child. Say, I one thing I do
yeah.
not like is scary movies and children. Oh, they really.
Well, in this story within that book, the child is a ghost.
Yeah. See, no,
Yeah.
it's not
So
for me. But I don't watch scary movies, and I definitely don't read.
I
I
don't
definitely don't. I read. I listen to audiobooks. Like I,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't watch scary movies, but doing this book is like it's like doing 3.5 movies
Right.
because I'm doing immersive audio.
Uh huh.
So I'm doing like jump scares, I'm doing like tons of
Oh.
you know, I'm building all of the
Hmm.
sounds, so a lot of audio that I'm making. So, to where it's like a lot of different sound effects, but then also just bringing in the music and different
Right.
sections.
Oh,
So
that's a fun little audiobook.
a lot of sound design.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
So where a lot of people actually, I'll start with this one first. Do you think is the downfall? What do you think is the negative for AI, and especially in like the music?
I would say the downfall could be a lot of people um overnight becoming an artist, but not
Mhm,
really being an artist. I literally could just be behind a computer and typing something in, and then I could put. There's no regulation. I mean, they're working on regulations, but you could be a Spotify sensation with no real musicianship,
mhm,
no studio time paid, no nothing.
mhm.
You're literally just like generating it all on a computer, and so I think that's a negative. And they've caught some of that, and there's royalties being paid out on that, which is crazy. So I think that's a negative part. Um, and just passing it off as your own,
Yeah,
and not being truthful.
yeah.
That's a negative as well. So there was another positive use case. As I worked with an artist yesterday actually, and this artist is just trying to write her own music that she ultimately wants like other people to like. This is country, and she wanted other people to like cut these records, so it's a way for her to have like songwrite and then have like a pretty decent sounding demo.
Mhm.
And so she's put this all into AI with her song, and even has background vocals, and then she's singing lead vocal. So, like, that's cool because for one, it saves some time and money, And I feel like there is a use case for the certain type of artist or person that maybe is just starting out and can't afford to hire a band, or maybe really shouldn't hire a band because maybe it's not something ultimately that is going to, you know, they're going to have a career in.
Yeah.
I think it's cool for maybe some ideas to
Mhm.
start a song. Like, ooh, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
It's cool like that. Um, so I've seen some positives in it, but I had a jazz song that I did, and the artist was trying to do just that. They were trying to create the song, and it was all live, but it was AI. And in the end, and we brought a saxophone player in. And once the sax was laid down, I I wanted to tell him, but it was one of those things where it was kind of the first time I was working with him, and so you're developing a relationship.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to be like right away, like you should cut all this real. But that's what I was thinking. And then finally he came to me and was like, I think we should do all this real. I'm like, yes,
Right.
yes, we should, because there was a lot of like artificial like sound artifacts and a lot of like like a lot of hissing in the
And
and
the
it was
AI one?
yeah, it was
Interesting.
like in the when you split it out, because with AI you can even do what's called stems. So like you can do the drums by themselves, you get the bass by himself, but
Wow.
it comes with like verbally artifacts. Like I can hear it.
Yeah.
And like in the drums, it was like a brush sound,
Uh-huh.
a little shuffled brush, and heard a lot of hiss. And so in the end, I hired the best musicians in Indianapolis to come in, and they slayed it. I mean, I have the
Mhm.
best, keyboard or piano player, bass player, drummer, and it was like a jazz ballad.
Yeah.
In turn, it was awesome.
Right.
So, and that was a positive to where the record was maybe started. The idea was started in AI, but then completely, um, you know, changed into human,
Right.
creation.
But do you think my thought is though, like most people, because like I keep saying, like music isn't as good as it used to be, I feel like.
Mhm.
But I do you think not everyone has the ear you have?
Well, yeah, people don't. I mean, yes,
Yeah, so that's I fear that like
the Johnny consumer is what I
uh-huh.
always call it. Johnny consumer doesn't hear what I hear, doesn't care. Yeah, that's why like I'm always surprised when like, you know, maybe the newest rap song comes out that's like got a really crappy mix on it, and like it's distorted, and my old head ears are just like, man, I can't believe that that's out nationally, but then
Uh-huh.
people love it and they
Yeah.
don't care. So it's like, yeah, I think we're gonna battle that, but I also think it's like when I relate it to when CD, like physical like units of
Uh-huh.
CDs, were declining, and they pulled them out of Best Buy, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, they're not gonna have CDs in Best Buy anymore.
Right.
And the whole dawn of streaming, they were like, this is gonna kill music, but it didn't. It didn't. It just people adapted, and they found a way. And honestly, it's so much easier to be like, I don't know where my phone's at, but it's so much easier to be like, oh, hey, I just downloaded your song, or I
Yeah.
just listened to your song. Because what I used to use that is like, we used to have to, when somebody was buying a record, they would have to like get up, shower, go to the drive,
Yeah.
go to the store, and then now it's like, yeah,
Right.
I just
Yeah.
stream your song, It's like because people are lazy, they want it as
Right.
easy to touch, but I do feel like with streaming, and downloading all that, I think it is ease of use, and so
Mhm.
now it's like people and they've adapted to that, and CDs are so, like, archaic now. I've been in this business long enough that, like, we were burning CDs for, like, every, like, rough mix.
Nah,
So,
the burn CD.
let's say that
Yes.
you were doing the pod then.
Yeah.
You would get it on a CD.
That's crazy.
You'd get it on a CD, whether it would even be like a data
Uh-huh.
a data CD, you would put it on there, and then, yeah, so it would be, and then you would put it on a computer. But,
Mhm.
now it's like we just airdrop, you
Right.
know?
That's true.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. That is very true. Do you ever worry about 'cause I feel like music is a very personal thing, like humanity, like Jelly Roll. We were talking about him,
Mhm.
how he like is gotten so big because he's so like vulnerable. He like I don't know, you feel the way he feels. But with AI music, it takes away the authenticity and the creativity.
For
Would you
sure.
feel?
No, I definitely feel that way, but I think like I said, people are gonna yearn more for that real human interaction, and Jelly Roll is a great example of that. Of like, anybody that's met him in real life is like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much a real person he
Right.
is." And I think that came across in his music, and I think that ultimately led him to superstardom
Mhm.
when, it was something I knew 10, 15 years ago,
Right.
when we were working together. And I knew he had something crazy then. It was a privilege to work with him, and he was very down to earth. But I feel like that is something that I think that humans are gonna, especially people within the business. But I
Mhm.
agree with the Johnny consumer. They may not care.
Right.
If they like a song, they like a song. It doesn't matter. They don't care if a computer created it, but then you're always going to have the purists. And that's why you see like a resurgence of you're not seeing it in CDs, and I don't know if you ever will, but you're seeing like vinyl,
Yeah.
like I have artists now. I'm mastering a lot of albums for vinyl now, which is awesome. So it's like vinyl has always been one of my favorite mediums. As you can tell, I love 50s and anything
Yeah.
mid-century, but like people forget vinyl was the main medium of how people digested and listened to music for several years,
Yeah.
several decades. And now people are doing pressing records on vinyl because it's that human experience. It's like I get to open the vinyl and I get to see the pictures, I get to see the credits again. Wow. Like that. For people that create music, the credits are everything. It's like
Alright.
they are. It's like, I mean, people used to look at the liner notes on the back of the CD and be like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, there's my name,"
Yeah.
And then when my records were distributed in Best Buy, I took a lot of pride in like my back records in Best Buy. Turn on the back, you see my name.
Right.
And right next to, I had a record right next to like Eminem. I remember that.
Right, and you were
Yeah,
like, "Ah."
yeah. It was like
Yeah.
just go through the names and boom. I had a couple records in national
Uh-huh.
stores at that time, and that was awesome. And yes, you can find credits online, and the people that care will find them, but that is something that, like, is really cool on vinyl.
Mhm.
And I've also seen artists even do, cassettes again,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's really just for their fan base. Their
Mhm.
fan base, if you have a dedicated fan base, they're gonna buy that stuff, and you can get it, and it's a way for you to create, kind of a moment with your fans,
Mhm.
a keepsake that they can have, and anytime I buy vinyl, whether it's, a record that I worked on or not, I always get 2 copies, one that I open and one that I keep sealed. That's just because 'cause I'm a nerd, but
It's 'cause I'm just a
yeah,
nerd. Right, it happens, it's
yeah.
okay.
But yeah, I like to keep one sealed just to have forever,
Right,
so
so you can store it and
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Yep.
It's cool, I mean, because I always feel like I always worry because I also feel like this world is very individualistic, and I feel like sometimes people don't really care, but there is people like it goes both ways because 'cause we're individual, but we also are, like, made in the image of God, so we're made by a communal God that's, like,
Mhm.
3 in 1, so we do crave community
Yeah.
in that human touch, which you had a great point with, like, yeah, I mean, like, yes, there'll be those people, but then, the common Joes or whatever you call them. Yes.
Johnny Consumer.
Yeah, Johnny consumer, but
Yeah.
there are still those people that want that, like, human factor and stuff
Yep.
because I always go back and forth because 'cause I'm like, I feel like maybe I think it'll be a blessing because maybe, like, then there'll be more, like, concerts and tours because then people are gonna have to, like, actually show up like, artists are gonna actually have to have, like, concerts and
For
stuff
sure.
because with all the AI music and stuff, that's I mean, like, I don't know much because I just don't I mean, I listen to music, but I listen more like audiobooks because 'cause I'm boring.
Mhm.
But I do think that you made a good point with that. What do you think about when it comes to, like, Christian AI music? Because you then are working with spiritual and, like, it's kinda like a gospel thing, like, everyone got crazy
Yeah.
with, I don't know his name, Solomon Ray or Sugar Ray, something Ray. Remember there's this gospel AI person and,
Mm-mm.
"Oh, you have
Mm-mm.
not heard this?" Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and Forrest Frank was all like saying, like, it's not real gospel music because there is no, like, Holy Spirit in
Yeah,
it.
there's no spirit. That is a very interest I've never thought of that take, but that's a very interesting take because but again, it's the AI is generated from, if it's whatever it's inputting.
Mhm.
So if it's inputting Forrest Frank, it's inputting, all of the, Christian music, it's going to output that. But yeah, it's artificial. I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. It's in the name, it's artificial.
Right.
artificial intelligence. So, um, yeah, I mean, I go back to it's never going to replace human. It's never going to replace the human heart that wrote that, that
Right.
actually cared about, God and
Yeah.
Jesus. Um, so and we were talking about this before we started filming, but like Christian music has came a long way,
Yeah.
especially Christian hip hop,
Right.
you know, and I would say Forrest Frank is a
Right. Yeah. No,
big
he's made it
reason for
cool.
that. He's made it cool. He's made it hip, and they play it on all the channels because they have to,
Uh-huh.
because it's that good.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's that relatable. And I honestly, I was saying this to Beth, my wife, the other day. I said, it kind of feels like to me, at least I'm seeing in this in the entertainment business, that it's cool to like Jesus
All
right now,
right. Yeah.
and it hasn't always been.
Mhm.
And maybe that's just in some of the things that like I'm seeing, but like again, back to Jelly, like all of his, speeches,
All
he
right.
gives glory to God. Um, and then Fernando Mendoza of IU
Right.
football when they won, he's, first thing he's like, without my Lord and Savior. And I've seen that more and more, and I like that. I think that that's awesome because I think I agree with that. I
Mhm.
agree that God should be at the center of that, because God created us. And I only have this talent, because He gave it to me.
Mhm. All
You
right.
know, it's nothing that I did.
Yeah.
It was given to me from Him, and I feel like same thing with those athletes, and whether you're in secular music or you're in Christian music.
Yeah.
I think that's great to see. Um, I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've
Oh
I've
yeah.
noticed that, especially even from a secular perspective, because predominantly I do secular music. I've done plenty of Christian music as well, but
There's just
yeah.
more secular music in this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just in a recording, like in a commercial recording
Mhm.
studio, we do it all.
Yeah.
So and you kind of have to like, not only like all forms of music or genres, but be able to do all of them
Right.
too.
And be able to like appreciate. You can appreciate the music aspect of it.
100%.
Right. Because I'm not the biggest fan of country music,
Yeah.
but it does have sometimes it hits. I mean, I like Johnny Cash. You give me some Johnny Cash,
Yeah.
but
See,
now I
I
feel like music sometimes country music kind of patronizing
For
sometimes.
sure. Oh, yeah, no, it could be over. It could
Uh-huh.
be over like America,
Yeah, right. And that's great. Like
Yeah.
I'm
I
proud to be an
I love
American,
America too, but I
but
don't know if I'm gonna
also
go America, you know, go crazy with that. But yeah, I like country. What's interesting is, you take country and rap. Those are the most similar genres in the world. And hear me out,
really.
because country is is lifestyle based, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm writing about my truck and my dog. Rap, lifestyle based. I'm writing about where I'm from. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Those are so similar, and that's why, like, they when they started to
Uh-huh.
cross,
Right.
it made so much sense.
Do
It
you
made
think
so much sense
Nelly
to me.
knew that when he
100%.
right? Because Nelly was like, he got on that train and then everyone was like
100%. And Bubba Sparks back in the
Yeah,
day,
right?
you know,
Oh my god.
I found you
Dude,
on
man, you
the
said that,
boogie.
right? You
Yeah.
said that and legit his intro just went in my
I
head.
know, right? So he was the very first session we did here in this building.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Bubba.
Uh-huh. Oh my
Yeah,
god, that is
booty, booty, booty.
we rocket. Oh my god,
Uh,
that was a banger
but
back then.
but yeah, those are the most similar genres. And so when people are like, "Oh, I hate country" or "I hate rap," I'm just thinking like those, they are about their
Right?
lifestyle. It is very lifestyle based. Now, pop music it can talk about anything, but
Mhm.
that's why I love that I have got to experience it all. Like I've done, the country records, I've done, the hip hop or rap records, R&B, and then pop, but they're all fused together now. They're all
Right?
like, if you listen to, I know you say that like you don't love country, but listen to like Morgan Wallen and
Right?
listen to the production. It's all hip hop. It's all hip hop underneath. It is all like fast hi-hats, 808s.
Uh-huh.
It is all infused together. And honestly, that's what I love about music now, is that it's, in a lot of ways, it's genreless.
Mhm.
It's like you can create whatever. And a lot of artists love to infuse different things within. And I'm an 80s baby, grew up in the 80s, so I love 80s music. I love infusing 80s
Uh-huh.
within like the pop music I do. And I do a lot of female pop, and with work with some amazing artists here locally. And I love infusing uh just influences like that
Uh-huh.
in the pop, and pop music. So it's
What does 808 mean?
what does 808 mean?
Because people always be using that. Like you dropped it,
Yeah.
and then I interviewed a Christian artist, and he did 808 Beezy,
Mm,
and I was like, and I'm semi. I mean, now I'm just going to ask because I act like I know what that means, and I
so
don't. What does an 808
yeah,
mean?
that's great. Great question, Lace. So an 808 is from the TR 808 by Roland. It was a drum machine
Oh,
back in
okay.
the 80s. Okay. But it is a bass drum or a kick drum
Uh-huh.
that it, we would say dumps, right?
Mhm.
It's just a hellacious low end
Okay.
bass. Okay. Because I know you want that 808 when you feel that
Yeah, yeah.
BASSH, right?
Right? Back
So
to
yeah,
Outcast.
Outcast, right? So it is that low end, right? That is
Uh-huh.
at 808. And there's been many different like versions of, just different 808s
Mhm.
being used. But yeah, that is what an 808 is. It's a kick drum, it's a low end bass.
It's like the bass
It's the
kinda?
it's the big dump. It's it's not a bass line, but it's
Right.
just like a hit.
How does that, go with, like, rap music? Because I hear it a lot with rap
Oh,
music.
it's I mean, 808s have been in rap music for
Is that the
decades.
bass? Is that, like, what when people say it, I'm just like, "Mhm, so
Yeah,
yep, yep, the
yeah,
808. Mhm."
yeah, it's the bass.
It's the
It's the
bass.
bass. It's
Okay.
not always the bass line. It
Uh-huh.
could just be like a bass drop, just
Okay.
like a hit,
Alright.
so sometimes you have like a kick. You have a kick would just be like your
Uh-huh.
sorry, Trisha. Uh,
Right.
and then but then underneath that,
Uh-huh.
you'll have your punch, and underneath that, you'll have that big boom.
Okay. 'Cause it's
That's an 808, yeah.
I've noticed it's a lot when you talk about, like, trap music.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Right?
uh,
When I've noticed when people talk about trap music, they
oh,
talk about 808s a lot,
oh,
and I'm always like
it's heavy in that.
right.
It's heavy in that, yeah, and, like, in hip hop, you definitely have, like, a lot of, like, low end, nice low end in the bass,
Mhm.
but in trap, a lot of that is 808 driven, meaning that is that style of bass,
Right, okay.
which is very, like, very low end and getting super audio nerd, it's like 30 hertz and below,
Okay, okay.
it's
I don't exactly know what that means, but
yeah,
someone may be listening to
yeah,
this will know.
right,
Right.
so yeah,
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I was like, it was a great time to ask.
for
Why do
sure.
you think Christian I mean, I think you've hinted on a little bit about Christian music becoming big, but do you I mean, like, I think also I might do with, like, the message, and why do you like? Because before, like, we're talking, like, back then, I mean, the cool people when we grew up was it, like, DC Talk and stuff?
DC Talk, there was 2
Like, you laughed
there
because
was
they're
2
like
artists, that I listened to, kinda late high school going in yeah, probably late high school, maybe going into college or starting to. There was an artist called
Okay,
T-Bone, and then there was an artist called KJ52. And KJ52 had a song with Jeremy Camp,
okay.
and it was a song called Right Away.
Uh-huh.
Right Here, I'm sorry, song's called Right Here. Jeremy Camp had a song called Right Here, and then him and KJ did a song together. And it spoke to me, it was an awesome song. But KJ was if you listen to him now, it sounds a little corny and dated,
Mhm.
and I feel like forever Christian rap was exactly that, corny,
Right.
dated, 5 years, 10 years behind on what secular music was
Mhm.
doing. Um, and I think that started to change when you have an artist like and he doesn't claim to be Christian at least anymore. You got an artist like NF.
Mhm.
So
So he's not I didn't think he was. People always say, and I was like,
he
his
doesn't
last song was not I mean, like, it was
he doesn't curse.
no, he doesn't
He's never
curse.
cursed, but it's his his uh his messaging is dark,
Yeah.
but it's still just about his life. But
Right.
I actually saw him. He opened up for David Crowder at Northview.
Nuh-uh.
Probably I don't know, probably 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and, I mean, he was awesome, and,
Right.
I mean, it was at Northview Church,
Right.
and, there was, oh, what's that other, Lauren Daigle, she was
Yeah.
there, I mean,
Oh gosh,
and
just
then,
back then
uh
now
and there
they're
was another,
big.
Casting Crown, all of
Uh-huh.
them were
Yeah,
opening up for
they're
David Crowder.
big hitters now and
They're all big hits,
right.
but yeah, I think at that time, like, I think the doors were starting to open up where there was artists like him coming out
Mhm.
that was like, "Wow, this is different. This feels real.
Right.
This feels like it it kind of is right there with secular music. And
Mhm.
I feel like once people were pushing the envelope, then there was more that were pushing the envelope. You got an artist like Lecrae,
Right.
and Lecrae, I think, has had some secular success. And you got like Toby Mac with you know, Toby Mac did a lot of things. I don't know if he did a song with maybe it was Chris Tomlin. That they've had some cool like crossovers,
Mhm.
and I feel like early Toby Mac was a little
Nerdy.
cheesy,
Yeah.
and then it got better.
Well, I
Yeah,
feel like it was the era. Like, I look back now and I feel like the Christian music, the CCM, contemporary
yeah,
Christian music, was like it wasn't as deep as it is now. Like, it was kinda surfacey, but I also feel like that was the time during that time.
for
Christian
sure,
faith, I mean, like, there was some good Christian fa but I feel like it was a lot more, like, surfacey kinda
for
things and
sure.
stuff. Where now I feel like it's a little bit deeper, and when you said, like, NF, I keep wanna say M word, not the N,
Yeah,
but, like, I do, people have said that he's Christian, and I think he is, but the problem is I think people wrestle with is that he talks a lot more about, like, depression and stuff like that, like, hardcore issues
yeah,
kinda
and
thing.
but you know what? Those are real.
Oh, no, they're
They're
100. That's what I
obviously
like about
real,
Christian music now.
yeah, real life. And I think that you got your worship side of
Mhm.
Christian music that
Right.
is obviously about worship, but then you have some that is people that are Christians that are struggling with real life things, and I
Yeah.
feel like NF definitely does that.
Yeah.
Um, and it was crazy. I saw him at Northview, and then almost a decade later, then I see him at I call it Deer Creek forever, but
Right. I know, right?
Ruoff.
I don't know what's it it's called Ruoff
Yeah,
now?
it's
I don't
Ruoff.
know, it's
Yeah,
going through I know I
yeah.
originally think of it as Deer Creek.
Yeah, but I saw him there, and it was just a crazy,
Alright.
what a few years change.
Right.
And that was the same thing with Jelly Roll. He was playing the Emerson Theater, and in Indianapolis, it was like a capacity of like, I don't
Right.
know, 250, just this hole in the
Is that
wall.
still is that still
I
open?
don't think so.
Dude, I went through, like, an indie phase, and,
Yeah.
oh my god, all the indie
Oh
artists went
yeah.
there. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he used to play. And
Yeah,
he was
that's
like,
crazy.
I remember him saying, I'm not coming back to indie before I can play something else.
Alright, there you
Like,
go,
like
and now
I,
he's
I,
about to be at Calypso or something.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
coming out, right? I do think, though, that, like, Christian music has gotten better, but I think it's you have to, like I think this is just because now the era is more like, you know, tell the truth, shame the devil kinda thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I think it's good. Have you listened to, like, Indie Tribe? Have you listened to them?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you'll have to.
Mm.
They do a Christian hip hop festival in Nashville
Oh,
called Holy Smoke.
ooh, that sounds awesome.
Uh-huh, you'll have to listen to Indie Tribe, they're real good.
Okay.
Uh-huh. But yeah, sorry, no, it's just like
No, I love that.
it's a good Christian, like, rap group and stuff. It's like a big group, but then they also have their own, like,
Oh, that's cool.
groups. Yeah.
You gotta drink your Coke,
I'm
man.
sorry, I've been chatting. I've been
We are not
chatting away.
sponsored by, although we'd like
We
to.
would like to Coke, but we're not sponsored.
We're open for sponsorships.
You
Mhm.
crack me up. Alright, we'll slowly end this, but,
Yeah.
what would you say to, like, a new creative that's afraid to take a leap of faith?
I would say take it. I would say, you know, a cliche, you only live once, use your God-given talent. Also learn and soak in as much as you can from in all aspects, whether it's find a mentor that you can soak things up from, but also don't be afraid to put in the work. And I think
Mhm,
that's the biggest misconception of the independent artist, is not realizing how much work it takes.
mhm,
um but and I think I work with and have worked with so many different type of people or type of artists that have different goals. And I would say some of the goals are like, oh, I want to make it. I want to be, famous. I want to do this for a career or living. And then there's people that just, they want it for the legacy of like their life and to pass down to their children. So it depends on your motivation, right?
mhm,
Depends on what you want to do. But, um, you know, come into a commercial, recording facility, because we could argue and say, "Oh, you could do all this from home." I mean, you can create a whole song, on a computer, full AI, right? Why do you need a recording studio? Well, what you're not getting is professionals that do this day in and day out, but also can give you those, kind of real world experiences that you're not going to get anywhere else. And that can really help you develop who you are as an artist, and
mhm.
also as a person too. So yes, it could be nerve-wracking coming into a professional studio for the first time. You are paying over $1 a minute, so that could be nerve-wracking. But we do work with and have worked with every different budget. If it's something that you could just come in, for 2 hours and knock out a song, that's still something that, you're gonna be proud of in the end of the day.
Mhm,
uh, and or if it's a full project that you want to see, from conception to completion. I mean, one of like my most proud moments, and it's happened a couple different times where I've had an artist come to me just like straight off the street, like completely unpolished, but I could see that they have a lot of talent, and they're like, I really want to do something here. I would love to, like, my dreams are like to you know, to make it on the Billboard records or
mhm,
whatever. And we've done that with artists that just had nothing,
right,
and got them to where I know it's a formality, it's a chart, and who
mhm,
really cares? But from zero to charting in
right,
Billboard, top charts of their genre. Really cool, feats when you think about it, and I've had a lot of like things that I've set out to do in this business, and once I achieve them, they don't always feel exactly like you think they would when you're chasing them.
mhm,
But I think that also just what sets you apart because, like, for a long time, it's like, well, I'd love to have, a gold record or a platinum record, or I'd want, song be number one. And once you achieve some of those things, I'm always like, what's next?
right,
What's next?
uh-huh,
Um, and so, but sometimes you have to take a step back and look at that, and look at like what you have done. You know, um, and I feel like those things kind of help you keep going and
right,
inspire you. So for the person that's, maybe watching this that wants to, get started in music, they feel that nudge, they feel that God has called them to be more, to do something and to use their creative gift, do it.
right,
What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? There's people that can help you and that would love to help you. Um and yeah, so
right,
there you go.
mhm. I got drinks in little bit, but yeah, I love that, yes, I think it's very true, especially, just taking I mean, I think any kind of thing, taking that leap of faith, but then also where, like, where's your heart at in the thing? Because
For
like you
sure.
said, there's some people are like, "I wanna, be big and stuff," but they don't wanna hustle and
They don't
flow,
want to
but
hustle. They
they
want to
don't
hustle and flow.
right?
Whoop that trick. Get them.
Right. Right. But I think more that yeah, takeaway is just, definitely where your heart's at and that I mean, like I keep saying, like, anything that's worthwhile is gonna take a lot of work.
Yeah,
But then, we got if they need it, they got help around table.
for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Alright. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Travis.
I'm honored that you asked me to be on the pod, and
You stop
no,
that.
seriously.
You were
Seriously.
my producer before Trisha. Now Trisha is my producer, but
She
yes.
does a much better job, so
No, I mean, together you guys do great. I get
yes.
it's 2 difference. It's 2 different. I mean,
Oh, I know,
I
yeah.
was working with my cousin, now I
Yeah.
got Trisha, who I now ask about beauty tips and
Yeah. Why
clothes and
weren't you
stuff.
asking me about beauty tips?
Just,
My lashes?
I know, I
Yeah.
mean, you got some good lashes. It's giving not I mean, not as much of expert.
No, I
You
get
know what
it.
I mean?
I get it.
You got boys, you don't I mean, you got breath, but,
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me
you're
on
welcome.
this, and,
Before we leave, I'm gonna pray, though. Here we go.
oh, yes, let's do it.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful time, this conversation with my cousin, Lord. Thank you. It's so beautiful how things turn around, how I grew up with Travis, and now we're seeing talking about his business you have given him, Lord. And Lord, may people just be reminded that, gifts, they bring the crowd, they entertain people, but Holy Spirit, you're the one who breaks chains, Lord. So, Lord, whoever is listening to this, who may feel that they are broken or not seen, Lord, may they feel inspired by you and loved by you, Lord. Please be with them. And any person who is feeling like you're calling them to music or to something else, Lord, may you give them the courage and the boldness to step out, Lord. And may they know that they are with you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Trask. Thank you again.
Thank
All
you.
right. This is Image Bearers. I'm Lacey Connor. Y'all have a good day. Go with God. Bye.